Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has told the White House it wants to reschedule a cancelled meeting. An Israeli delegation was due to visit Washington to discuss Israel's planned ground offensive in Rafah in southern Gaza. Netanyahu cancelled the trip after the U.S. refused to veto a UN Security Council resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
What I can say on Israel more broadly, as you asked me about meetings that were held here, they were constructive discussions with Israel's defense minister over the last 2 days. Rafah was one of the many topics discussed with Jake Sullivan, Tony Blinken, Lloyd Austin, and Bill Burns. The Prime Minister's office has agreed to reschedule the meeting dedicated to Rafah. So we're now working with them to find a convenient date that's obviously going to work for both sides. But his office has agreed to reschedule that meeting that would be dedicated to Rafah, which is a good thing.
Let's speak to Luciano Zakara about this. He's an associate professor at Qatar University's Gulf Studies Center. Good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. So Israel now wants to meet the Americans over its plan to invade Rafah. Netanyahu has said that with or without American support, this plan was going to go ahead. So why request this meeting over Rafah if they've already decided that they're going to go ahead with this planned invasion?
Well, it seems that they want to make clear to everybody, to the whole world, even to the United States, that they will move forward and they will not stop, regardless of the United Nations resolution, United
Security
Nations
Council,
resolution,
Security Council.
Neither, regardless also the Biden's administration pressure that they have been exerting since the very beginning of the conflict, and regardless the very clear statement that Biden and Blinken have done regarding not entering into Gaza in the way that they expect.
So it's not that they're looking for a blessing from the Americans to go ahead with this?
No. I mean, it seems that Netanyahu is not interested in the American blessing. It is interesting also in showing to his own population that he's tough, that he's not negotiating, and that he will pursue his objectives militarily in terms of defeating Hamas and in terms of recovering the hostages that seems that has been forgotten already by Netanyahu. And the only way to do that is to claiming that they will go further without any restriction and without even being restricted by the United States.
Right. Where does that leave the U.S.-Israel relationship? I mean, there's a bit of tension, obviously, since the U.S. abstained from voting on that UN Security Council resolution. Is it just a glitch in the relationship, or is it more serious this time around?
Biden made clear that there is no change in policy. So regardless of what he says or what the United States voting in the UN, it says that they will not stop sending arms or financing Israel. On the other hand, the Republicans are very clearly saying that they will never sign any suspension of aid to Israel in the Senate or in the Congress, and that they support Israel whatever they do.
Right.
So considering that Biden most likely will lose the next elections, there is no possible change in the American foreign policy as far as Biden is not taking a serious measure that is changing his policy in order to not to lose votes.
So right now on the ground, what you have is a status quo. It's a ceasefire on paper only because Israeli airstrikes continue on Gaza, as we've seen. What more do you think the international community, not just the Americans, should be doing to get Israel to respect this UN Security Council resolution, not this one only, but previous resolutions which the Israelis have flaunted, especially countries in this region, the Arab countries? Many of them have largely stayed quiet about what's happening in Gaza, haven't taken any actions against Israel, unlike some Latin American countries, for example, which have cut off diplomatic ties, have recalled their ambassadors from Israel and so on. We've seen little action from some Arab countries. Why is that?
Well, nobody wants to harm the achievement that they had in terms of the relation with Israel and the relations with the United States. Nobody wants to harm the long-term strategies and relations they have witnessing or they have enjoying. Making such a move that withdrawing ambassador would harm really long-term expectations. And as you said, I mean, the tougher policies that they have been visible along this 5 months conflict are coming from Africa or Latin America, not from the region, which gives you an idea that nobody's really interested in actually helping the Gaza population and the Palestinian population, but they are more interested in their own interest and surviving as political regimes and guaranteeing that they have their own situation, regional situation solved without engaging in a longer conflict. Even the public opinion in most of the Arab countries are supportive of more tougher policies. Cutting diplomatic relations or even recalling the ambassador is something that they should have done a long time ago. It's possible. I mean, the pressure has been growing in Europe, but neither Europe has been doing anything. I mean, the discourses of Cameron and other people have been showing that they don't want the operation in Gaza to take place. They want, and they are demanding the ceasefire vocally, but again, the ambassadors are still there. Nobody stopped any kind of trade agreement, nobody stopped aid, etc., etc. So there are still tools that can be used by the international community. When we say international community, we are mainly talking about the Western countries, but also the global South can, and they are actually doing more than the North in terms of diplomatic
pressure.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Luciano Zacara from Qatar University, for joining us on Al Jazeera. Thank you for your time.